Sports to the bone, people. Back at it again with another video. Thank you all for checking this one out. Now, I was doing some reading this morning and I came across an article where former captain Jason Holder was speaking about West Indies cricket. And according to Jason Holder, the CPL, they have done a good job as it relates to providing a platform for youngsters to showcase their skills. He was basically saying that, as it relates to West Indies cricket though, more needs to be done. They need to do more to provide a platform or to provide opportunities for the players to really continue improving outside of CPL cricket or outside of regular franchise cricket. He spoke about the fact that there needs to be a plan or a process to find the next, to quote him, Sunil Narayan, the next Andre Russell, the next Kyron Pollard. He was talking about T20 cricket. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Plus, I'm going to bring forward a few names that they were, you could say, earmarked to replace these players, a few years ago. And what is happening to them now, because they are mostly being fed a diet of T20 cricket. We're also going to be talking CPL as it relates to the leading run scorers right now, the leading wicket takers, and we're also going to be looking at the teams in the playoff and stuff. So let's give a listen here until the end. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, remember, the only cost to be on this channel here is to hit that subscribe button. Right? You won't get any message or any text or any email saying or any video saying send this come or send that come. Right? We're not doing any of that. We're not, the only cost is to like, share and subscribe. That is the only thing we're asking for. We're not asking you to dip in your pocket and support the channel, right? Alright. So I'm gonna be sharing this here that I was reading this morning. And basically, Jason Holder was saying that, the CPL, they are doing a good job in terms of offering a platform for youngsters. We see where they are saying that teams need to play a few breakout league players and stuff, right? But obviously, that is because of the understanding that they have with CWI, but it's franchise cricket, so they don't necessarily. I mean, it's our franchise, it's our home tournament because it's in the Caribbean, but they have owners from outside. It's not like it's fully it's CWI operated, right? So outside of CPL providing opportunity, this is what Jason Holder was saying. This is a question, and I quote: what are we doing to have specific camps and specific skill work based on T20 cricket alone to enhance the talent? Right, so this is Jason Holder talking about T20 cricket. I know that a lot of people don't necessarily like hearing about it. Even yesterday I spoke about this. I was saying that even though, we really and truly want to get back on top where Test and ODI cricket is concerned, T20 cricket is something that is out there. They have World Cup and this is where the money, a lot of sponsors and things, they are drawn towards this, right? So players will be looking towards it. So Jason Holder is asking, what are the specific camps and what are they doing in order to help to develop skill, right? He's saying that based on T20 cricket alone to enhance the talents. He went on to say it's one thing to create opportunities for our players to play in a competition, but what are we doing to ensure that when they aren't playing in a competition, they are up to standard? Well, when they are playing in the competition, they are up to standard. So what are they doing outside of that? He went on to say that we need to make sure that we improve upon this to continue to produce the next Sunil Narayan or to produce the next Kyron Pollard or Andre Russell, right? That is what he's saying in terms of T20. I know people will say that, boy, they don't know how many more of these guys they want to produce that will be T20 specialists and not necessarily be available to play all formats for us. But just bear in mind that Jason Holder is actually addressing T20 stuff right here, right? So I know that it's difficult to separate the T20 from the Test, because Test is what we want to really dive into, right? But this is him addressing T20 here. Right, he went on to say that we're at the end of an era now with that last cohort of players, but we haven't quite put things in place to develop the next crop. And he's talking about people like Kyron Pollard, Andre Russell, Dwayne Bravo just left, Chris Gale. And I've said it several times, most of these guys, they played a whole lot of red ball cricket to help develop their cricket, to help develop their skills, right? I remember when Bravo just started, you know, what you call it, experiment with the slower ball and just started, and he was bowling mostly at the back end. Sometimes he would go for runs and people would beat him and all kind of things. But you know, these guys, they have a lot of cricket behind them. They Jones just, most of these young people, they don't even know that Chris Gale is one of the best test cricketers to have played the game, right? From the year Chris Gale, they will say T20, right? Chris Gale is one of the best test players to have played the game. So, you know, you have to play a lot of red ball cricket to learn how to put a spell together. You know, you're playing red ball cricket, you bowl 15, 16, up to 20 overs in a day, right? You run as a fast bowler. You learn to work on different stuff. I know it's different ball, different quality, different field setting and all of that. Different, you know, stuff. But the basic remain the same. You can experiment with stuff. Same thing with the batting, right? You spend time at the wicket. Talking about these guys, the people that they had that according to them they wanted to replace them with, a few years ago we see where they were talking about Odin Smith coming through, right? We see where the lights of, I mean, Ravman Pole has gone on to represent us a good bit, right? But there are quite a few players around the region, especially all-rounders, that they would say that these are the guys they're looking to replace people, right? Dominic Drakes a couple of years ago was one of them that was coming through. Hasn't really happened. Chemo Paul, another one. Injuries, you know, we know all of that. So it's not like they didn't identify players and have them in different camps here and there, right? But at the end of the day, as I said, people have to have a good solid foundation to play. Most of the top T20 cricketers, they have a good solid foundation. You understand? As far back as you want to go. If you want to go to the beginning of when T20 cricket came in, you look at people like the Malinga, you look at people like the Gale, the Brendan McCallum, the AB, the Villiers of this world, the Daniel Vittori. If you want to go recent now, you look like people like Bravo, one of the greatest to have played the T20 format, right? All of these people, you know, all of these guys, they played some amount of good amount of red ball cricket. And if not red ball cricket, they play a good amount of 50 over cricket. So they have enough time to experiment and to build and to improve. But a lot of these guys, you give them 4 over to bowl, they can hardly bowl 3. Then you see they start struggling with their run up, they start, you know, because they're tired and all of that. It's difficult. You know, so all I was saying that I think within the Caribbean, if we had more skill-based specific camp setups, organizations, then it would be so hard for players to say, well, I only want to play T20 cricket. I only want to play test cricket, because you would have an environment where you're enhancing all your skills for whatever format there is out there. And one thing I must say, since Jason Holder, since he was removed as captain, he has definitely opened up in terms of speaking about some stuff that, you know, as regular fans, we would be saying, yeah, these are some good ideas. You know, when you're a part of the leadership group, you can't really come out and talk a lot of stuff and say certain things. We see where Jason Hole has definitely shared his opinion. You know, so he's saying that, you know, they need these camps, these environments to harness these sort of skill sets. So people won't just say that, boy, they are T20 or they are test specialists, because they are exposed. You know, they have different camps and stuff to really make sure that, you know, they are you know, they are improving in all aspects, right? And then, you know, people would have an opportunity to go there and freelance, right? So that is what he's saying. Jason Ola is saying that, you know, people want to freelance. Spoke about even himself that his first priority is West Indies, obviously, is what he's saying, right? He's saying that I love to play for West Indies and always have, right? He said that I love playing for West Indies and I always have been at the forefront of my mind. But for whatever reason, I have been able to play test for some time. I gave you some of this a few days ago when I spoke about it, right? Just touching on the rest of what he was saying, that there needs to be more skill-based camp. Every now and again we see they bring up a camp and say this camp is for spinners with 9 or 10 leg spinners in mind. They will say this is a spin batting camp, this is a pace bowling camp, and we understand that it takes money to do a lot of these things, right? A lot of money to do a lot of these things. So we're not saying that they can do it all year round, but these are some areas that I agree with what Jason Holder is saying in terms of providing more camps and stuff. So let us see how things will work out. Just before we finish, my viewers and subscribers, let me just give you a bit of information as it relates to the CPL, right? So as we speak, we have some guys that are doing well with the bat and ball, in terms of let me see here. In terms of wicket takers, leading wicket taker, we have Imran Tahir up there at number 1 with 18, right? Wakar Salam Keel 15, Gudikish Moti 14, Shamsi has 14, Daniel Sams 14. And one thing you would realize is that spinners, Daniel Sams is a medium pacer, right? But one thing you would realize is that these guys are all spinners. Obviously we have Moti in there as Caribbean man, but mostly overseas players there. So Imran Tahir 18 wicket at 7.25, Salam Keel 15 at 8.46, Moti 14 at 6.85, Shamsi 14 at 6.86, Sams 10 at Sams 14 at 7.77, and they all have 10 games under their belt so far, right? So that is how it's looking with the bowling. If you're talking about leading run scorers right now, Shea Hope, boy, Shea Hope is such a good player. All of these guys that I'm going to mention now, they have played 10. Shea Hope, 447 runs, strike rate of 132.24. Colin Monroe, 337, 167.26 strike rate. Tim Cypher, 338, 178.83 strike rate. Karen Pollard, who has retired from international cricket, still performing well for his team, 327 at 179.67. Andre Fletcher, 310 at 129.16. So what you would realize here, my people, mostly overseas players and a couple of guys that are no longer in favor where West Indies cricket is concerned. Obviously, Shea Hope is at the top, which is good. Then we have Colin Monroe, Cypher, those are 2 overseas players. Pollard has retired, and Andre Fletcher, who is probably not at the forefront of Darren Sammy's plans right now. So it would be nice to see more of the active players coming through and doing some stuff. I've always said it, my people. I will take the entertainment, I will watch the international retired players, I'll watch the overseas players entertaining us in the league, but at the end of the day, I really and truly only care about the current active West Indies players in terms of how they perform, right? Because I'm looking at the bigger picture, right? So definitely want to see more of our active bowlers and batsmen stepping up and doing more. Big up.